Do animals get heartbroken when cheated on? You know the specific kind of pain I'm talking about. Not the pain of losing someone to distance or to time or to death. The other kind. The kind where they're still here. They just chose someone else. And somehow that detail that they chose makes it land in a place grief can't quite reach. You replay it. You wonder what you missed. You wonder if what they felt was ever real. Now ask yourself this. What if that experience isn't uniquely human? What if, right now, across species you recognize something that looks exactly like that is happening? Because the science of animal bonding has quietly built a case that should make all of us stop and sit with that question a little longer. Start with dogs. When your dog bonds with you, or with another dog, something measurable happens in their brain. Oxytocin, the same hormone responsible for human attachment, trust, and love, floods their system. When a dog and their bonded companion make eye contact, both of their oxytocin levels rise simultaneously. The same hormone, the same moment, like two systems recognizing each other. That's not affection as a loose concept. That's a neurological event. And when that bond is threatened, the system responds. Dogs that lose a bonded companion, to separation, to a new animal in the home taking that animal's attention, show measurable behavioral changes, reduced appetite, disrupted sleep, withdrawal from things they normally enjoy. Veterinary behaviorists have a clinical term for this pattern: depression. Not a metaphor. A behavioral profile that, in any other context, we'd recognize immediately. Now talk to anyone who knows penguins, and they'll tell you they mate for life. That's the story. The romance. Two penguins find each other in a colony of thousands, build a nest together, share the brutal work of keeping an egg alive through Antarctic winter, and return to each other year after year. What nobody mentions is the infidelity rate. In some penguin species, up to 15% of females engage in what researchers call extra-pair copulations, mating outside the established bond while still returning to their primary partner. And male penguins have been documented doing the same. The pair bond holds on the surface. Underneath, it's more complicated. But here's the part that matters for this question. When a penguin pair fails, when one partner doesn't return or returns and chooses differently, the abandoned penguin's behavior shifts in ways the whole colony notices. Their vocalizations change. Their nest-building behavior drops off. Their timing changes, arriving later, engaging less. One of the most documented patterns is what researchers call mate-switching aftermath. The penguin that was left doesn't just reset and start over. There's a period, sometimes a full breeding season, where their functioning is measurably disrupted. Being replaced looks different from being abandoned. And penguins, apparently, feel that difference. Elephants are harder to dismiss. Elephant pairs form within herds over years. Long-term bonds between specific individuals, not just between mothers and calves, but between adults, are well documented. They remember. They track each other. When a bonded elephant is distressed, the other moves toward them. In herds where a dominant male is displaced by a rival, researchers have documented something in the female elephants that previously bonded with that male, a shift in their engagement patterns. Less proximity seeking with the new male in the early period. Behavioral indicators of what the scientific literature cautiously describes as social stress. These are animals with the capacity for long-term memory, complex social recognition, and documented grief responses. When the structure of a bond they invested in changes, when someone they chose is no longer the one chosen back, something registers. They don't hide it well. Wolves are the clearest example. Wolves form bonded pairs within a pack. One male, one female. They raise pups together, coordinate hunts, and maintain that bond across years. When a wolf loses its mate, the behavioral response is documented and significant. Reduced howling, withdrawal from pack activity, disrupted sleep patterns. But researchers noticed something specific. Wolves that lose a mate to death and wolves that lose a mate to displacement, to a stronger rival taking their place, don't show the same pattern. The wolf that was replaced shows a different behavioral profile than the wolf that was simply separated. Biologists are careful about language here. They don't use words like betrayal, but they do note that the behavioral disruption is more pronounced, more lasting, and shows different features when the loss involves a rival. Something in the wolf system appears to register not just that the bond is gone, but how it ended. Here's why evolution built this. Pair bonding didn't develop because it's emotionally meaningful. It developed because for certain species, in certain environments, raising offspring with a committed partner dramatically increased survival rates. 2 parents, shared territory, divided labor. For that system to work, the bond had to feel like something. It had to activate the brain's reward system. It had to hurt when threatened. And it had to register, specifically, when a rival was the reason, because that information mattered. Rivals could be challenged. Patterns could be avoided. The pain of replacement wasn't cruelty on nature's part. It was data. You didn't invent heartbreak. Evolution built it as infrastructure and handed it to every species that needed pair bonding to survive. What we can't do is get inside the penguin standing alone at the edge of the colony. We can't ask the wolf what it feels watching a rival take its place. We can't know whether there's something it's like, from the inside, to be the one who got left for someone else. Some researchers say asking that question is projection. Others say refusing to ask it is its own kind of arrogance, an assumption that inner experience belongs only to us. The honest answer is that nobody knows, but we know the behavior changed. We know the hormones shifted. We know the animals that formed the deepest bonds showed the strongest disruptions when those bonds were broken by replacement rather than by absence. And we know that disruption looked, from the outside, a lot like what you've felt. Maybe the hardest part isn't that animals might experience something like heartbreak. It's that the specific ache of being chosen against. Not lost, not left, but replaced. Maybe built into the same system that makes bonding possible in the first place. The dog that won't eat. The penguin that shows up late to the colony. The wolf at the edge of the pack. They didn't have the words for it. They felt it anyway. And so did you. Because you were built the same way they were. To bond deeply enough that losing it to someone else registers as a threat your whole nervous system responds to. That's not weakness. That's just what love costs when it's real.